You can call me Mystic Mike because I predict these things.
Felipe Lima takes on Miles Johns at UFC Fight Night Tampa this weekend on the undercard. And I think this is going to be a really fun fight. I think this is going to be a firefight on the feet. Both these guys really like to sling the leather and get after it. Miles Johns coming off of a you could argue 4-fight winning streak with the no contest he had against Dan Argueta overturned, but he's looked decent as of late, not against the best competition. He's kind of just a wrestler with a right hand, honestly. He'll threaten with his takedowns, but usually he's kind of like Chuck Liddell. He uses his wrestling defensively just to stay on the feet and throw hands. A lot of power in the hands. Doesn't really extend his combinations very much. He's more of a 1-2 punch fighter, relying on quality over quantity, I would say, landing those big punches and doing damage, but not really a combination guy. Felipe Lima bursts onto the scene, taking a short notice fight over, what was his name? Muhammad Naimov. This guy's very exciting. He reminds me kind of a Charles Oliveira, somebody that's very dangerous on the feet, but also can choke you out on the ground. So Miles Johns, never really been very impressed with the guy, honestly. He's got a good record, 15-2, but I just look at the caliber of fighters that he's faced, and anytime he faces somebody somewhat decent, Mario Batista, John Castaneda, who I was watching a lot of footage of for one of his previous opponents fighting this weekend, he seems to get put out. So I'm gonna go with Felipe Lima in this one. I think he's just gonna be better on the feet. He's one of those guys. He's gonna throw a lot of leg kicks. He's gonna throw more than just a right hand. He came in against Muhammad Naimov, who I rate very highly. I think is very good wrestler, and he came out just on fire in that first round. Very, very impressive. It was a short notice fight, so he did look like he started to fade towards the middle of the second round into the third, but ends up getting a takedown, immediately taking Naimov's back and choking him out, which I think is a big feather in his cap. He comes out of he's from Brazil, but he fights out of All Stars Gym in Stockholm, Sweden. So he's there with, Khamzat Chimaev and a lot of those monsters that we're starting to see coming out of that gym. So you know that the dude can grapple. You know that he's putting in the work at the gym. I just think he's going to be able to nullify Miles Johns' takedowns, and if Miles Johns does get a takedown, I think he's going to be able to threaten from his back and either look for submissions or get back to his feet. I think he can put a pace on Miles Johns. Johns tends to get tired in his fights, you can see, and that's with fighting at his pace, where it's just one punch at a time, kind of keeps guys at bay, doesn't really get into crazy brawl type matchups because he can always threaten with the takedown, and he gets a lot of respect with his hands on the feet. But I think that Felipe Lima is the crisper striker. Another thing to mention is he fought his debut at 145, so he was fighting up a weight class against a really good guy in Naimov and ended up finishing him. He did look like he was, like I said, kind of gassing, but took it on short notice and fighting a bigger dude, but still managed to get it done. So I just think he's going to have more tools in the toolbox than Miles Johns. I think he's going to be better on the feet. Got good leg kicks, got power, just like Miles Johns, but he's going to extend his combinations. He's not just going to be throwing 1s and 2s, and he can threat with his takedowns too. We saw Miles Johns get taken down by, who was it? Cody Gibson. He got taken down by Cody Gibson like twice. I think Dan Argueta got him down too, and I think Felipe Lima, if he gets Miles Johns to the ground, he's in a lot of trouble. I think he smokes Dan Argueta too. So I'm going to go with Felipe Lima. I just think he's from the better gym. Younger dude. He's like 26. Miles Johns not old either. He's 30 years old, but I just think he comes from a gym full of killers. I think he's got more of that killer instinct and ability to finish. He can finish with strikes on the ground, or he can sub you. I don't know if Miles Johns has any submissions. He's got 1 submission back in the day, 2 submissions. So not a huge jiu-jitsu threat. He does get guys to the ground. I think he's a D2 wrestler back in the day. So I just don't think that that's going to be much of a threat to Felipe Lima. I feel like I said, he's kind of like Oliveira. You get him to the ground, he's going to be just as dangerous there. So I think Felipe Lima has more options, and I think he gets this one done. I could see a knockout. I could see him piecing up Miles Johns on the feet, and Johns not having that takedown ability. I think he's going to shoot takedowns and get him stifled or feel too threatened on the ground. So I think Felipe Lima will put him out, TKO him, and if not, he'll win a decision. Thanks, guys.